Hello, and welcome back to another Doujinshi reading from White Album 2. This will be the final chapter of I Want to Talk About White Album 2 with Her. And this is, of course, the introductory chapter if you've been following along so far. There are future novels, so please keep an eye out for those in the future. They also cover closing chapter and coda. Very exciting, very, very exciting stuff. So, coming up on the ending, I wanted to make sure I had time to give a few of my own thoughts about the author and just about the ending in general, so let's go ahead and continue from here. But if Kazusa's over there at night, I guess that means they don't have any time left. You're awfully sharp about this. You think? Kazusa vanished from my apartment. 2 buttons had been ripped from my uniform. And if you didn't understand the context of this, in Japan, when you graduate, it's customary to give the button off of your shirt to a girl. And traditionally, you're only supposed to give away one of your buttons, obviously, right? But the more trashy guys will give away both of the buttons from the suit jacket, to different girls if they want to graduate and have 2 sweethearts, whatever. Kazusa, not even wanting to take any chances, took both of his graduation buttons, meaning that you don't belong to anybody. I am taking this. This is all I have left for myself. She knows she can't have him, so she's just stealing what little piece that she can. And those are the buttons, and that's just such a sad line to me. Really, really sad line. Haruki-kun? I'm sorry. I couldn't get through to you on the phone and the door was unlocked. I'm okay. I really am. Thanks for worrying about me. Of course I was worried. Setsuna, there's something I have to tell you. Will you listen? The truth is, I can't listen to this. It's important. I can't put it off any longer than I already have. Well, I have something important to do too. I have to see Kazusa. So, you can tell me on the train to the airport. Otherwise, I'm not going to listen. Let's go, Haruki-kun. It's not over for us yet. Except, it's been broken from the beginning. Now it's very broken, though. Now it's shattered, but what's the point in her going to see Kazusa now? She's not going to break up with Haruki-kun or something there, is she? I knew how you felt, Haruki-kun. I knew how Kazusa felt. I knew all of that, and I still kept forcing myself in. When I confessed to you, Haruki-kun, it wasn't because I was desperate to start dating you. I just wanted the 3 of us to stay together. I didn't want you to cut me out of the loop. Because if I didn't force myself in, you and Kazusa would have gotten closer and closer. You would have become boyfriend and girlfriend while I stood and watched. Which, to be perfectly fair, this is super true. In the game. But, I always have a but, right? This is true in the context of the game, and if you're just looking at the context of the game that we've seen so far, this is an awful thing to have done, right? She didn't want to date Haruki, but she didn't want Kazusa to date Haruki, so she dated him first. That's really disgusting. That is honestly a gross thing to do. But if you do read the side novels, which are written by Fumiaki Maruto, the writer of White Album 2, they are canon. Setsuna 110,000% had a crush on Haruki. She did like him. She liked him well and before the school concert. She was well aware of the whole thing with Todokanai Koi being about Kazusa. She was really upset about it. She was a little too mature to realize the depth of her own feelings. Now, that is true, but there's 100% no denying that no, she did like Haruki at that point. So it is on Setsuna for seeing everything that she saw and still continuing on to ask him out. It was a crappy thing to do, no matter how you take it. But at the same time, she did have a crush on him. All's fair in love and war. Kazusa didn't ask him, so she did. But you know, that's a huge point of contention for different fans. That's my take on that part. More than anything, I didn't want to end up alone. So I struck a balance. By turning your feelings toward me, I struck a balance that would let the three of us stay together forever. See? As long as I was with you, Kazusa wouldn't leave us either. We made a perfectly balanced triangle. Except you didn't, because Kazusa was being tortured every time she saw you guys together. I'm sorry. I do like you, Haruki-kun, but I wasn't as serious about it as Kazusa. Now this 100% is true. This is very, very, very true. Kazusa, loved Haruki. Actually loved him. Setsuna had a crush. So, whether or not you think that factors into who was right and who was wrong, that depends on the individual. But Kazusa was definitely very, very deeply in love with Haruki at that point. But if you get lonely from losing Kazusa, and if you can still find it in yourself to like me, even just a little, you can use me as Kazusa's replacement. One of the worst lines in introductory chapter, because it is not because it's badly written, but because what a disgusting thing to do to yourself. Never, 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 never stoop so low. You deserve better. You deserve better. That's all it is. You don't gotta do that to yourself. Are there any direct flights to Vienna? Or where would she be stopping over? Well, I guess we'll just check every gate with flights to Europe at 2 o'clock. That's enough, Setsuna. No. We have to see her one more time, face to face. We have to. Kazusa? Toma! Oh god, the famous Toma. So the thing about this Toma, this scream, if you listen to the interviews of the voice actor of Haruki here, it was actually supposed to be Kazusa. That's what was written in the script. It was Kazusa, right? Because they've already established that they were close enough that she was Kazusa to him. But the voice actor just got so caught up in the emotion. And Haruki is, of course, at that point, as well as the voice actor, used to calling her Toma. So he was so caught up in the moment, and he delivered such a heartfelt Toma, that desperate scream, that they decided to actually edit the script and keep that in, which I think is fascinating. So there's a little bit of trivia there for you. Stop. Haruki, Setsuna's. I'm sorry, Setsuna. As they're making out. Oh boy. Are friendships between guys and girls just that fragile then? Okay. I will say though, Setsuna's face here doesn't even come close to depicting the lifelessness that is in the original. That's one of the best things about this CG. One of the worst, but one of the best. She just looks so devastated and dead inside. It is so sad. If Haruki-kun had been completely devoted to Kazusa, he probably wouldn't have gone out with Setsuna when she asked. Boys will be boys, I guess. No, it's true. If he was 100% man, I am in love with Kazusa Toma, I love her so much, he would have said no to Setsuna. But he was so flippant at this point. Yes, he liked Kazusa, but also yes, he liked Setsuna. Not to the extent that he liked Kazusa, but again, does that really matter? Actions are what... Okay, well, yeah, it kind of matters, but his actions are what ended up mattering in the end. Whether or not he liked Kazusa more or not didn't matter in the end. He still went out with Setsuna, and then he still cheated on Setsuna. You're very harsh, Kato. I'm really not. I mean, it was pretty obvious that this wouldn't go well. It's like whoever acted would end up the winner. And we're finally done. Whew. I'm exhausted. Well, actually, Kato. I hate that look. I hate that face. Actually. Still have 100 hours left to go, you know? There's more to the story. Here, this is... Huh? You said all I had to do was read it. Yeah, I'll admit I'm curious to know what happens after this, but I doubt Kazusa's gonna be there, so... You can look forward to finding out. All right, onward into the college chapter. What? I see. And... One of my biggest takeaways from the end of IC, though, that they kind of cut off. They didn't show, in the end, Setsuna holding Haruki from behind and being like, it's fine. Like, if you don't let go of me, I'm going to get the wrong idea. I'm just going to be right here for you forever. Setsuna needs to get a life, right? I love Setsuna to death. I'll say this every time. I am a Setsuna fan. But my God, get some self-respect. That's my biggest takeaway from the end of IC. Setsuna, get some self-respect. And even moving into CC and Coda, get some dang self-respect. It is so sad that she feels the need to cling on to this guy who clearly loved someone else more than her, and she is second best. She is second best until it's convenient for her to be first. You know what I mean? God, drives me up a wall. But that is the end to this doujin. We have a little bit of a bonus image here. Kazusa being all happy in the concert outfit. Hello again. I'm sorry I couldn't make it all the way to the CC arc as planned. It wound up being more than I could handle. I'm not that fast with my pen. I'm currently warming up some new material to draw for a leaf-only event. Thank you for reading. And this was published December 31st, 2021. I don't know what this person is talking about when they say they're slow with their pen, because they have continued to publish things so quickly ever since this came out, December 31st, 2021. They've published Closing Chapter, they published Coda, they published Kazusa End, Setsuna End, like they've covered pretty much everything. And this was not a short doujinshi, as you saw. So many panel redraws. So this publisher is Malibu Pain. Now, if you read out the Japanese pronunciation of their name, it's pine, like pa-i-n, like pine. But in English, they actually spell it out as pain. So you might see both of those written in different areas. There's their Twitter, there's their Pixiv, and I highly recommend checking out their other works because they've done a whole bunch of them. Here's the back cover, which is in color. Kazusa sitting at the desk, her first CG. Malibu Pain. And then Setsuna singing on the rooftop, Setsuna's big CG. And that brings us to the end. So, this was kind of a longer doujin. If you're curious about, my longer thoughts on the ending of the introductory chapter, I would recommend checking out my playthrough of it, just because, you get to see the entire scene that's fleshed out. And it's a lot more emotional when you're not sitting here reading a doujin, which is really, really shortened. For good reason, but it is shortened, so the emotional impact is definitely lessened when it comes to this. But for now, thanks so much for following me on this doujinshi reading from White Album 2, and I'll be back with more doujin readings in the future. Until then, hope you take care. See you!